Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे श्रीचैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देहं श्रीगुरो श्रीगुरुं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवं श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं साद्भूतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीकृष्णकान्तितं हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त भक्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमामि विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे विशेष पाश्चात्य देशकारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं 23.34 323.34 third canto 23rd chapter 34 यदा सस्मार ऋषभं ऋषीणां दयितं पतिं तत्र चास्ते सहस्रीभिः यत्रास्ते स प्रजापतिः यदा सस्मार ऋषभं ऋषीणां दयितं पतिं तत्र चास्ते सहस्रीभिः यत्रास्ते स प्रजापतिः
यदा सस्मार ऋषभं ऋषीणां दयितं पतिं तत्र चास्ते सहस्रीभिः यत्रास्ते स प्रजापतिः यदा संस्मार ऋषभं ऋषीणां दयितां पतिं तत्र चास्ते सहस्रीभिः यत्रास्ते स प्रजापतिः यदा सस्मार ऋषभं ऋषीणां दयितं पतिं तत्र चास्ते सहस्रीभिः यत्रास्ते स प्रजापतिः Yada.
When.
When.
Sasmara.
Sasmara.
She thought of.
Thought.
Rishabham.
Rishabham.
The foremost.
The foremost.
Rishina. Among the rishis. Dayitam. Dear. Patim. Husband. Tatra. There. Cha. And. Aste. She was present. Saha. Along with. Stribihi. The maid servants. Yatra. Where. Aste. Was present. Saha. He. Prajapatihi. The Prajapati Kardamam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhaya Charanaravinda, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. When she thought of her great husband, the best of the sages, Kardama Muni, who was very dear to her, she, along with all the maid servants, at once appeared where he was. Purport. It appears from this verse that in the beginning, Devahuti thought herself to be dirty and dressed in a very niggardly way. When her husband asked her to enter the lake, she saw the maid servants and they took care of her. Everything was done within the water. And as soon as she thought of her beloved husband Kardama, she was brought before him without delay. So these are some of the powers attained by perfect yogis. They can immediately execute anything they desire. So thank you for giving an opportunity for me to speak. Thank you, Shyam Kishore Prabhuji. Not as a matter of conventional convenience or conventional, talk. I really want to feel, trying to understand that all of you are more advanced in the sense of listening to Srimad Bhagavatam every day, while I am not. So you are very regular in Srimad Bhagavatam classes, while I am not. So anyway, I'm speaking so that Shyam Kishore Prabhu is inspiring, so at least by that I come to the temple regularly and partake of all your association. So I can overcome my laziness. So he's motivating me like that. I'll speak whatever I can understand and share. So if there are any inabilities, please forgive me. So with that being said, so this whole chapter is very descriptive in the sense it doesn't talk of, at least the portions we are reading right now. It's just an event. We can think like that. It might appear like that. It's just an event. Okay, what appeared? What was there in the last shloka? Okay, what was her features? How she was so beautiful and she was decorated like this, and and how is the lake, and how are the different girls? So these descriptions are there. You will see in Srimad Bhagavatam. How the palaces were. And how the women looked. So you can see them, interspersed throughout Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is actually material Aishwarya. This is the opulence that is present. And these opulences are real. The opulence of wealth, the opulence of lot of grains, the opulence of having, nice rain, the opulence of having, obedient children. So these are real opulences. And we can see that Srimad Bhagavatam is talking about all that. And I believe the last time, we were hearing from Dhananjaya Prabhu, and previously. So we're talking about also how the Vedic culture is so nice. And that's what we learned from Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is a package. It talks, it gets us a peek into how people lived, how people lived with each other, how people interacted with each other. And the more and more I absorb myself in Srimad Bhagavatam and devotees who are living their life based on the principles of Srimad Bhagavatam, that type of an interaction also becomes inherent in me. I also start interacting in such a way. And what do such interactions give me? First of all, they give me stability in my life. They give me the much necessary stability in my life. Because without stability, I cannot even think of Krishna consciousness. Right? Stability in terms of my ashram, stability in terms of, like, at some point, my Siksha Guru, he was telling me, sitting on me and few other people who are going to get married or decided. He said, don't be a brahmastha. Either be a brahmachari or a grasta. Don't jump from here, there, jump, because I require stability in life. I have to make sure my relationships are nice in my household, family, life, and my job is perfect. My relationships are perfect. I mean, at least to some extent, nothing can be perfect in material body, and more so in Kali Yuga, nothing can be perfect. But not necessarily I have to make my life very bad. Like one time I was picking Narahari Chaitanya Prabhu in the car, and then the fuel was saying very low. And then he said, the world is already very dukkhalayam ashashvat. Now, why are you putting the fuel so late? Why do you want to make it more dukkhalayam than already it is? So similarly, it is not that I can use, dukkhalayam as okay, it's dukkhalayam. Okay, I'm allowed to be miserable now. Okay, it is Kali Yuga. Okay. So I don't have to intellectually make it more worse than it is, right? So these systems are there in place, like we were seeing. Basically, the shloka talks about how Devahuti, by simply remembering her husband, she's depending on her husband. Dependence on her husband is not bad. It is not bad. I mean, this might be, inconvenient, because I think I was mentioning, discussing that also earlier. So because of the bad example set by men, now a person cannot be, a woman who is listening to this in Kali Yuga right now cannot accept this because of the bad example, that was set by different classes of society. So simply by thinking of her, thinking of him, thinking of Kardama Muni. English is a bad language. See, I'm forced to accept them and addressing Kardama Muni as him. So by simply thinking of Kardama Muni Prajapati, she's able to achieve so much opulence. She was dirtily dressed. She was very bad looking. Now, Devahuti, she was already materially opulent because of being the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. Now she's serving Kardama Muni, a pure devotee, right? A good devotee of the Lord. I mean, Prabhupada says in some place, because desiring, progeny, but still, I mean, because of that service, all her desires are being satisfied, material and spiritual. So Krishna consciousness is not that only my spiritual desires are satisfied and I'll materially starve. It is not like that. So Prabhupada said in one of his lectures, see, I came with 40 rupees. So where is the businessman who can convert 40 rupees into $40 million in a matter of 10 years? Show me a businessman. I simply depended on Krishna alone. I simply depended on Krishna. And the reason it is so successful is because I did not add anything, I did not subtract. Prabhupada said that. So spiritual life gives more, it's not just spiritual prosperity alone, both material and spiritual prosperity. So based on the shloka, I want to talk on two aspects. One aspect is, I think I spoke on it briefly, last time I spoke on the same chapter a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago. So about the glory of the system of Varnashrama Dharma, and some misconceptions of that. I would like to address that. Maybe it's a good opportunity. So the mind basically works on whatever you accept as acceptable. If a society does something, and if it is accepted within that society, then my bar, that is my bar. That is my bar. And my mind will automatically come to the point of saying, this is acceptable. This is how the human mind works. Many people around me are drinking. Like my sister used to say, my sister studied, she studied in a normal college in Tamil Nadu, and then she went to NIFT, National Institute of Fashion Technology in Delhi. Very modern, very, posh, this, that. But my mother and my sister were talking, So the more and more she saw people who are having living relationships with their boys or girls or whatever it is. She knew about Krishna consciousness, but her standards of what was acceptable gradually came down without herself knowing it's coming down. This is also acceptable. This is also okay. Because you are seeing it when you are actually in childhood, you are seeing that. For instance, say a person who's a Western body person. He grew up in a family. And in that family, say his mother ran away with another man, or her husband or his father ran away with another woman. Now, in his mind, whether he wants it or not, it will be embedded in her mind or his mind that this is okay, this is acceptable, no problem. So, see, by diluting these principles of dharma more and more, what is acceptable, this is acceptable, no problem. This is okay, no problem. You can do this and it is not a problem. That acceptability increases now. You're sowing a seed now. And as soon as this acceptability scenario comes within the system, this is okay, this is also okay. Then what happens? It becomes a train of thought. This is also okay. This is also okay. A Brahmana can consume liquor now and then. So this became acceptable at some point. This became, it's okay, no problem. It is okay. If you want, you can shout at your parents also, acceptable. Now that acceptability comes, then what happens? That dharma goes away. That dharma goes away. From the society, from the family, everything goes away. And now because of wherever there is lack of dharma in the society, there will be chaos. There will be chaos. There will be chaos. Just like, and the very dangerous thing about this is that it can happen in Vaishnava societies also, where I can think, anyway, I'm practicing Bhagavata dharma, right? So, these dharmas are not so important. The husband and wives need not be together all their life, or maybe until whatever, 56. This is all not important because I'm a very great devotee. I'm a devotee. So this is very dangerous because it is a devotee is not a license to actually drop down on my standards of dharma. It is not a license. Like I was talking to a Christian a couple of days ago. He told me, I have bathed in the blood of Jesus, and because of that, all my sins have been washed away. Right? I've bathed in the blood of Jesus, and because of that, my sins are all washed away. Right? And I'm going to heaven. You see his mechanism. He's thinking, because I'm a part of a certain setup, I'm a part of a certain sect. No sin for me. No sin for me. I'm free from all that. I'm beyond the system. So I was thinking about this foolishness. I could think. So I was thinking about myself that I could also think like that. Oh, because I'm a part of ISKCON, oh, I'm a devotee. These rules of whatever has been said in the system of society of Varnashrama Dharma, or how a husband has to treat his wife, how a child I should treat my elders, how I should treat a renounced person. I could also think I'm beyond all these things. So Haridas Thakur, if you know, was told, Haridas Thakur, why don't you go into Jagannath Puri? There is nothing like that. You are a great devotee. A devotee is beyond all these rules and regulations. Haridas Thakur said that is true for a devotee. All these Shastra statements are true. A devotee, for him, there is no rules. For him, there is no regulation. That is true only. But Haridas Thakur said, I am not a devotee. I am not a devotee. So as soon as a devotee says, I am a devotee, and I am exempt from all these things, immediately he becomes a non-devotee. Immediately he becomes a non-devotee. Actually, a devotee feels, actually, because I'm more fallen, I need more stringent rules. Actually, I should feel like that. I should feel like that. So, this is, anyway, I was talking about the system of acceptance, whatever, we accept this is okay, this is okay, this is fine, this is fine. Then it becomes a norm in the society, and especially in the case of devotees. And the other point I wanted to say is that the mind requires constant stress on this is right, this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong. Because one of the offenses to the holy name is to commit sinful activities on the strength of the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. If I do some papa, which means there is some papa, which means I must know what is punyam, I must know what is, or else there is no question of I will not do this, I should do this. There is no question of it. Is it not? Right? So there is an understanding of punyam and papa for a devotee as well. So that he does not think, okay, I can do anything I want. Nama bala. I forgot the exact what is that exact Sanskrit word from Padma Purana? So namna baladasya papa buddhi. So in the balam of the namam, having the papa buddhi, I will do this and I can escape from this. The same offense that the Christian is thinking. Okay, I can eat meat and I can do something else. Right? I can do anything I want and I'll be saved. So this is I mean it's not a healthy attitude for me. So the mind requires constant beating. This is correct, this is not correct. This is correct, this is not correct. Only if it is constantly stressed again and again and again and again and again, the mind will actually accept this, or else the mind will not accept it. That is the purpose of a lecture. That is the purpose of a lecture, that I'm constantly hearing again and again and again the same things. So sometimes, normal person can think, why are the same points being repeated again and again? Because only the same points are repeated again and again. The mind has that sankalpa. In this situation, when this point comes, this should be my action. This should be my response. That is dharma. Dharma means when this situation comes in my life. When I meet a devotee next time, I'm meditating. This is how I must react. When someone is, condescending me, this is how I must react. This is the dharma. I'm actually forcing it as a sankalpa. I'm hearing it again and again and again, and I am having that mentality again and again. Baram, again and again, baram, I'm doing it. This is how I must offer obeisance. This is how I'm meditating on it. Next time I go to the deity, this is how I must do. This is how I must desire. Right? If I have more money, this is how I will donate. If I have a better position, this is what I will do. When I'm 50, this is how I do Krishna consciousness. When I'm 45, this is what I'm going to do. Right? So in this way, I am contemplating again and again. This is all spiritual desires. When I'm desiring like this spiritually more and more and more, my mind will automatically be uncontrolled. When I'm desiring materially again and again and again, my mind will. So the way to control the mind, actually, is Sankarshan Prabhu told this in a lecture. He said the best way to control the mind, is to not stop desires. He said the best way to control the mind is to desire more. Is to desire spiritually more. The more and more I spiritually desire, is where Sankarshan Prabhu said, the mind will be controlled. The more and more I materially desire, because that is Rajogunam, right? Rajogunam means there will be agitation. The mind will become more uncontrolled. The more and more I spiritually desire, because the normal people, Ashtanga yogis, they think, if I still the mind will be controlled. No. If you spiritually desire more and more and more, the mind will become controlled automatically. So the way is to increase the desires, not stop material desires. Increase spiritual desires. So anyway, my point is that the mind has to be told again and again and again. This is right. So for the same with devotees as well. I can think, okay, husband and wife, now I don't like this boy anymore. This is not favorable for my Krishna consciousness. So I will leave my husband. That person is more Krishna conscious. That boy is more Krishna conscious. That girl is more Krishna conscious. I leave her and marry her son. And what can I do? I can say this is favorable for my Krishna consciousness. And what can I do? I can find a way out. I can find, but this is not true. Because I have given Satyam. I have said a word before Krishna that I will be with this person. Now I should not overcome that Satyam. If I overcome that, that is Papam. If I think chanting of the holy name will save me, that is again Namnath Baladasya Papam. If I think, okay, simply on the strength of my interest in Krishna consciousness, I will overcome any damn thing. I can do any damn thing I want on the strength of the chanting of the holy name, on the strength of the fact that I am Krishna consciousness. I can do anything I want. There is no dharma, there is no adharma, there is no satyam I should hold, there is no propriety I should have, there is no integrity. This is very bad, actually. And the second thing is that conflation. In the position of justice, if I'm in a position of responsibility, I should not think, oh, Prabhuji, sorry, I will not punish you because I am actually Vaishnava Parad. No. Arjuna, if he thought, sorry, Prabhuji, I am more envious than Duryodhana. Yeah, I also got angry before Yudhishthira. Duryodhana also gets angry. No. Vaishnava Dharma for myself, what I want to apply is mine. But when I am in a position of responsibility as a Kshatriya, there must be administration of justice. This has been a huge problem in ISKCON. Huge problem in ISKCON, where people do not administer justice. There is no justice. This is wrong, this is right. That is there. In the name of Vaishnava Dharma, if I say, I'll forgive you, and then I allow injustice to perpetrate, then what happens? People will lose faith in the system. For me, I should think others are perpetrating bad on me, crime on me, it is okay. But for others, I should always expect justice to be done. Right? If some other children are getting abused, I should not think, your previous reactions are coming, Prabhuji. Don't worry. Yasya Manukragnami Harishya Dhanamshanai. Krishna is very merciful upon you, Prabhuji. He's taken everything from me. For me, I can think. But for others, I should not think. One. Second thing, if I'm in a position of responsibility, my duty is to not administer Vaishnava Dharma on everyone. That Vaishnava Dharma is between the Guru and the disciple. Is between the Guru and the disciple. If I'm in a position of responsibility, say for instance, my son is crying, my son is coming, and he did something wrong. I should scold him. I should not say, you are chanting on the holy name. Mahaprabhu has said, anyone who has chanted the holy name even once is a Vaishnava. I will respect you. Then what to do? Good luck. Right? So there must be justice in this world. And in Vaishnava societies also there must be justice. Because we are operating within a society, there must be justice. This is right, this is wrong. Based on Dharma Shastras, based on what is morality, there must be justice. And if the system is there, there will be lack of chaos. But if the system is not there, and everyone is just thinking in a lala world, right? In the sense, okay, I'm a devotee, I'm smiling at you, but everyone is not happy. It's not, unity is not possible. Unity is possible only if everyone is assured and treated fairly. Can unity be possible otherwise? Practically speaking, if in a household, when is unity possible in a husband and wife? The husband thinks I'm being treated fairly. The wife thinks I'm being treated fairly. The children think I'm being treated fairly. On a practical level, only when this mentality is there, can this unity be possible? Or otherwise, it's not possible. Or it's not possible. Because everyone will feel, oh, this person is exploiting me. Is it not? So, three things basically. For my own self, one. When I'm looking at others, another thing. Third thing, when I'm in a position of responsibility, another thing. All these three things are different. For my own self, I must always maintain Vaishnava Dharma. For my own self. I need more, I need much more. I must think like that. But I should not expect the other person to think like that. That is violence. I should not expect the other person who's undergoing abuse. It could be husband abuse, it could be wife abuse, it could be children abuse, it could be any other abuse. I must not expect the other person to think like that. That there must be societies of Dharma that is required. So that there is less chaos and the society is uplifted. Or there will be confusion in the society. There will be confusion. Everyone will be unrest. Everyone will be everyone's mind will be I don't know. I don't feel comfortable. And you can't practice Krishna consciousness. Society is requiring peace. In Ukraine, no one is able to practice Krishna consciousness. Very difficult. It's very difficult. In US, I'm able to chant Hare Krishna mantra. Why? Because there is less chaos. Less chaos. Whenever there is more chaos, it's very difficult to practice Krishna consciousness. So, why make it difficult unnecessarily? In the name of Kali Yuga, like I was mentioning, I could ride on low gas and said, and then after the gas goes away, and then I have to rationalize this Dukkalaya, Mashashwadam, material world. Why unnecessarily rationalize like that? Right? Why unnecessarily rationalize? My duty is to not prove at every point this is Dukkalaya, Mashashwadam and make it a mess. My duty is to not make it a mess and quote Dukkalaya, Mashashwadam so that I feel good about myself. My duty is to obey Shastra so that I can have a peaceful life, I can have a stable life and practice Krishna consciousness. That is my duty. Is it not? So that's one point. The other point I wanted to say is, like, overlapping of dharmas. When a person who is of a sannyasi nature is given a duty of something that is completely different, then it puts stress on that person. A sannyasi is supposed to do the duty of talking to women. It puts stress on that person. It puts stress because his acharanam is something else. What he has to do, acharanam is something else. But what the society of devotees is expecting of that person is different. Now it creates a tension in his mind. He will suffer. That duty has to be done by the grahasthas. That duty has to be done by the grahasthas. Handling money, that has to be done by the grahasthas. If it is done with the sannyasi, then what happens? That person can become entangled. It is possible. I am a grahastha, and I am forcing renunciation on my more than what that person can accept. Then what happens? It creates stress on that woman. I am forcing renunciation on someone. Then what happens? It creates stress. It creates stress on that woman. It creates stress on that man. It creates stress on that child. Don't do this. The child becomes bonkers. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't. No. It creates stress. It creates stress in that person when I am stressing renunciation more than the suggested quota. But too less than the suggested quota also causes too much gluttony, too much, I'll just see mobile phones for flow parenting. Right? Whatever the child wants, I'll do. That is flow parenting. Then that also creates a lot of problems. Right? Whatever anyone wants, I will do. So there must be the balance. Whatever austerity is required plus enjoyment. Some austerity, some enjoyment. This is dharma. Dharma can be mandated, but renunciation should not be mandated. When renunciation is mandated, it creates stress in the society. And when someone has accepted that renunciation formally, the society or the structure of society must be in such a way that it can accommodate it and it can nourish it. You see how important it is, how nicely Krishna has divided the societies. Varna, ashrama, very nicely. Beautiful system. No other religion has a system. So that there is absolute cooperation with everyone. And everyone can live together happily. And we all can practice Krishna consciousness at our, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu says, at our own place, at our own pace. In our own space, I think, that's what he says. So it's very nice. It's a very nice system. Right? Where everyone is doing their duties. But when this problem happens, then what happens? It creates a distrust in society. Distrust. It is very disheartening to see that. I spoke about that briefly last time also, but I'm speaking this time also because it's so much difficult to come to Krishna consciousness. It's not very easy to say no to everything and say, Krishna, I need you. Very difficult. So that responsibility is there with me also, so that I make sure within my own capacity, I have faith in the words of Shastra. I don't run away from it. I simply don't try to find a way around it. Actually, Vishnu Dharmottara, Goswami, Jiva Goswami, I think, quotes this. Shruti Smriti Mamaiva Agnya. Shruti Smriti Mamaiva Agnya. The Shrutis and Smritis, Krishna is saying, it is my Agnya. If Agnya Chedi, if someone is actually violating these instructions, Agnya Chedi is telling Mama Drohi, he is actually my Drohi. Krishna is saying this. If someone is violating his instructions, simply for the sake, okay, I'm very good, I'm very great. So that cannot be Vaishnava Dharma. So very important, because this can happen very easily, where I heard an instance, recently, and it really pained my mind, that, the segregation of sexes is so important, and because of a lack of segregation of sexes, then what happened? This person who already is married then got attracted to someone else and went with someone else. And this person lost his wife. That's all. This person lost his wife. This is happening in ISKCON so many places. I mean, this is not to maybe find fault with someone. This is to basically be protected and be careful. To protect myself, so my society, wherever I am, wherever my family, I must be careful so that this doesn't happen in my place. Right? So that I should be careful, because these rules are there. Males don't speak with the females unnecessarily. This is there. And this is not repression. This is not repression. And we see that only by observing people. Like I saw the first time I came 2008 to ISKCON Coimbatore. I saw my Shiksha Guru, Srinivas Hari Prabhu, Pakka Brahmachari, first class, really first class, top notch. When he was talking to another female, he was looking at her feet, he was looking at somewhere else. I think, what is this person doing? A normal person would say, he lacks interpersonal skills. A normal person who would come would say, you're not looking at the face and talking, you lack interpersonal skills. No. Right? So, empathic listening. So if you apply those value systems, that is not correct. But actually, this is very good. So you learn dharma. This is how you must act. If you are a brahmachari, this is how you must act. If you are a grihastha, this is how you act. And if you are a manager, this is how I act. We see by seeing. We understand by seeing. This dharma is learned by seeing, not by reading. Reading is also there, but only by seeing. That is why I'm saying, one of the points I wanted to make was, like, by practicing these principles in my own life, I can actually, progress in my Krishna consciousness, make it very easy for me. And the asuras don't like these rules and regulations. Pravritim chanivritim janana vidurasuraha na shaucham na vichāchārah na satyam teshu vidyate. Asatyam apradishtam te jagattahu rameshwaram aparaspara samputam kim anyat kamahi. So, pravritim chanivritim janana na vidurasuraha. This is correct, this is wrong. Na janaha vidura, na satyam na achārah. Sorry. Vidurasuraha na shaucham na vichāchārah na satyam teshu. Satyam is very important. Integrity is very important. I said this, I should follow this. Na satyam teshu vidyate. So the asuras, like I'm an asura, so when these rules are being told to me, I usually want to say, no, these rules are not followed. Somehow I'm special. Somehow I'm special. Whatever I do, I somehow find a way back to God. I'm very special. Because I must be special, right? Because I'm in ISKCON, I'm very special. Because I'm a disciple of this Guru, I'm special. So a person who's having this asuric buddhi can actually use these concessions in a very bad way to actually perpetrate his ignorance. Anyway, so Devahuti was such a beautiful example. Devahuti is such a beautiful example of how a stree who's actually serving a perfect male, a good following, is practicing good spiritual principles, simply can get all her desires fulfilled. Very good example. Stree dharma is very required. Stree dharma is required. Brahmana dharma is required. All these dharmas are required. And only by speaking on it again and again and again, expressing all dharmas, not one with respect to others. Every dharma inclusively. It's a package. This has to be spoken again and again and again and again and again, so that all devotee families are very happy. The community is very happy. There is very less chaos. There is very purposeful interaction between everyone. So Devahuti is a very good example. Beautiful example. And that's one point I want to say. Other aspect is, this is a little social, sociologically you could say, right? Not maybe pure devotion. It's not pure Krishna Bhakti. It is not Raganga Bhakti. It is still sociological principles, but it is required in the society we live in, because when we fall down, we have to make sure we don't fall down to a very low platform. When we fall down, we must make sure that fall down is, it's not on tamoguna. The fall down at least must be little rajoguna when someone falls down. Because when the fall down is tamoguna, the society will actually lose its credibility. Society will lose its credibility, right? So there must be systems in place so that fall downs don't happen. And if they do happen also, they happen in such a way that it causes very minimal impact. This is risk assessment, risk management, what they talk about in today's world, right? So Varnashrama Dharma is risk management strategies from Krishna, from Vedas. Risk management strategies. But the other aspect, I'll finish in 5 minutes. So the other aspect I wanted to also share is how simply by his yoga shakti, by all his opulence, Kardama Muni was able to generate everything he wanted. Everything he wanted. Whatever palaces, this, that, everything is a manifestation of his yoga siddhi. And this yoga siddhi is available to different practitioners of different yoga systems in different ways. For a person who is doing punya, for a person who is enjoying very nicely right now, that enjoyment is nothing but a manifestation of his punya, conservation of enjoyment. Like you're talking about conservation of energy. Electrical energy is conserved into thermal energy in an iron box. Electrical energy is conserved into this conservation of energy, right? Similarly, it is a conservation of punyam. I have punyam. That punyam is getting translated to my fame. That punyam is getting translated to my wealth. That punyam is getting translated to a very pleasing wife. That punyam is getting translated to a very kind husband. That punyam is getting translated to a very obedient child. That where punyam is getting translated, everything. What is this? This is a manifestation of that punyam from the previous dharma. Obviously, it is. Independently, it will not manifest. It is a manifestation of that punyam. But when I'm doing a lot of papam to enjoy, then what happens? All that punyam will be getting expended very fast and will appear because of my hard work only this is happening. It might appear like that. But that hard work, if it is in papam, then what happens? Krishna will accelerate the manifestation of that punyam so that I enjoy wholesale. And then what happens? All that hard work I'm doing, which is papam, that suffering will come later. Right? So Kardama Muni is manifesting all his yoga siddhis. He's creating a palace out of his yoga siddhi. This is all magic. I don't believe. Bhagavatam is all fairy tales. It is a Vedic version of Harry Potter. If someone says like that, they don't understand because this is scientific. This is scientific. Why? How is this scientific? Because it is Satkaryavada. Satkaryavada means whatever is existing, its effect is happening. Something is existing. The spider is weaving its web. The saliva was there before. The saliva is there after also. Before it is there in the form of saliva. After it is there in the form of spider's web. Satkaryavada. But the same thing is there. Similarly, Kardama Muni's enjoyment was stored in the form of yoga siddhi before. Now he's manifesting his yoga siddhi. It is manifesting as all the enjoyment. Okay? It is manifesting as Satkaryavada. This is scientific. Scientific. Similarly, this for a person who is in the karma marga, this applies in the form of punyam. This applies in the form of punyam. His punyam is manifesting all, but punyam happens in a very slow scale. Because to undergo punyam, you have to invest in austerity. This austerity gets converted into punyam. And this punyam gets translated to enjoyment. So, this austerity, because Ashtanga Yogi is taking at a very fast scale, his enjoyment also happens at a rapid scale. Very scientific, is it not?
Yeah.
This austerity, because in order to speak Satyam, you have to undergo some suffering. I have to lose something. And only you can speak Satyam. If you speak Satyam in a very difficult scenario, you get some punyam. With that punyam, you enjoy. Now, this person is undergoing austerity at a very high scale, 100x speed. This karma margam is undergoing difficulty only at 1x speed. So his enjoyment is very less. Ashtanga Yogi immediately is because so fast is undergoing austerity. So fast he's able to enjoy. You say, Devahuti, take it. Palace, lakes, maidens, beauty. Boom, 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 boom. Is it not? Now, this is for a karma, so for a Ashtanga yogi. For a Jnana yogi, the same austerity is, what is austerity he is experiencing? The austerity is constant inquiry. Constant inquiry. What is real? What is not real? What is correct? What is sat? What is asat? Nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satha. What is real? What is unreal? What is temporary? What is permanent? Because of that austerity, what is that enjoyment he is reveling in? His jnana. His jnanam is jnana tejas. That is the phalam he is experiencing, and he doesn't want to participate in anything material. Ashtanga yogi might want to participate in something material, but a jnani doesn't want to participate in anything material because he understood Adi antavat asatnyatva nisangaha vicharetiha. Adi antavat asatnyatva. He understands this is Adi antavat asatnyatva. Asat vastu. I will not interact with it. Asat vastu. I don't want. Nisangaha vicharetiha. He is nisangaha. He doesn't want to associate. What is the nishtha of a jnani? I don't want to touch matter. If I touch matter, I will suffer. This is a nishtha of a jnani. So he doesn't manifest his austerity for the sake of anything material. If he does so, he loses it. This is what happened to Vishwamitra Muni, right? So Vishwamitra Muni manifested all this thing into Krodham, it went away. He manifests all his austerity to elevate what is his person? Trishanku. And to elevate Trishanku, he wasted all that, it went away. Now a devotee, now I want to conclude with a devotee, what it happened. A devotee, if that is the case with Jnani, what about a devotee? A devotee depends simply on Krishna. Like Devahuti is simply depending on Kardama. Devahuti is simply depending on Kardama. She's just thinking of Kardama. Similarly, a devotee's enjoyment is Krishna. A devotee's entertainment is Krishna. A devotee's existence is Krishna. A devotee is curious about Krishna. No second entity. Not second entity. Only the lotus feet of Guru and Krishna. That's all. That is my only Nishtha. I don't want anything else. And what will Krishna do? Krishna will say, oh, this devotee is serving me very nicely. Take it. So Krishna is using his Yoga Shakti. Krishna is using his Yoga Shakti to manifest 108 temples, Prabhupada. So Prabhupada says, a devotee does not have to earn any Yoga Shakti. Krishna himself, Yogeshwara Krishna. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna. Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna. Because Krishna is there, Krishna will give it. Krishna will give me food, Krishna will give me shelter. But this Nishtha is not possible for a person who's Karma Mishra, who's Jnana Mishra, who's actually not, why go to Karma Mishra, who's Karmatmakam, who's actually motivated, polluted, contaminated by material tendency. This Nishtha that Krishna will help me. Prabhupada has this Nishtha. Krishna will provide for me. I am doing Krishna's work. Krishna karma koila karte sarva karma krita. Sudhrida Nishtha. What is this Nishtaya? Sudhrida Nishtaya. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Pada is saying, Sudhrida Nishtha. Krishna karma krita hoy. If I simply satisfy Krishna, everything will happen. This is Devahuti's Nishtha also. Devahuti is an example of a synthesis of Varnashrama Dharma and Bhagavatam, where they are the same in her case. It is not different. In many situations, they are the same. In some situations, they are not the same. So, she simply believed in her spiritual master in the form of her husband. Because in previous, this thing, there was no necessity of going to a spiritual master and getting initiated because the husband is a spiritual master. Because then the girl has to intimately unite, then interact, then there will be a problem. But then that Purusha will have the dharma of not interacting with the female. It will create a problem. It will create a violation of dharmas. Right? So as much as possible, my Guru Maharaj also advises, as much as possible, ask from your spiritual master, you interact with the spiritual master. The husband interacts with the spiritual master. And the wife listens to the female. This is the way, the kramam. So that the spiritual master is, this is the etiquette. It's not that he will fall down, there's nothing he will fall down. But it's the etiquette. That is the Vaishnava etiquette. Anyway, coming back to the point. So so Krishna, the sankalpa of a devotee, the nishtha of a devotee is that Krishna will take care of it. Krishna will give me everything. Krishna will give me money. Krishna will provide me with all wealth. Krishna will provide me with a good husband. Krishna will provide me with a good wife. Krishna will give me everything I want, but I don't want anything from Krishna also. That is also there. Because as soon as I want something, Krishna Prema will not manifest. So if anything I need, Krishna will give. It's a nishtha of a devotee, And with that nishtha, you get everything he wants. Whatever he wants. Like Prabhupada is saying, we are traveling in Volvo buses. We didn't ask. Krishna is providing Volvo buses. Right? With shock absorbers. Krishna is providing. We are using it. We are not saying want. We are not saying no. But if Krishna wants to take away, okay, let him take away. We are ready to again go back to the tree and still speak about Krishna. We are ready to go back to the Damodar Mandir. That's also fine. So a devotee, what is that? Swargeshu Narakeshu api Tulyartha Darshana. Swargeshu Narakeshu api. Whatever Swarga or Naraka, Tulyartha Darshana. He actually sees that equally. So, I just want to conclude. So that, I, as a devotee, must make sure that my nishtha is very clear. That I must always depend Krishna only, on the spiritual master only for my spiritual progress. Not even on my sadhana, not even on my, vratam, not even on my service. No, not on the ability of anything else. I depend purely on the mercy. Ayi nanda tanuja kinkaram. Patitam mam vrishame bhavam budal. What is the next word? Kripaya. It's a very heavy word. So Mahaprabhu is teaching me that Ayi nanda tanuja, hey nanda tanuja, kinkaram, I am your kinkaram. Patitam, I have fallen down. Vrishame bhavam budal. I have fallen into this bhavam budal, which is poisonous. Bhavam budal. And what is the way I will get out of this material world? By my own sadhana? By my own meditation? By my own attentive chanting? No. Kripaya, I need your mercy. And if I always think I need you, Krishna, without you I will not do anything, automatically meditation will come. Automatically attentive chanting will come. Automatically it will come. How? I need you, Krishna. Without you, where will I go? Without you, where will I go? I need you. And without your mercy, I don't have a second chance. Without you, I don't have a second chance. This is called Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. Vyavasayatmika Buddhi will work only if there is nishtha on my, how I will make advancement. Only one way to make advancement. That is Sri Guru Nishtha. That's all. Only by the lotus feet of my spiritual master will I make advancement. And the lotus feet of my Krishna, lotus feet of my dear Radha Gopija Navana is the only way I can make advancement. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. And I'm depending on their manifestation. Their manifestation, Radha Gopija Navana is manifesting as the Hare Krishna. And I'm taking shelter of them. I'm not taking anyone shelter, anyone differently. It is the same personalities are manifesting as the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna mantra as a deity. It is a murti. I'm taking shelter of them to express the same sentiment. I need you, and I don't know anyone else but you. That is why Prabhupada so strictly advised against practicing Ashtanga Yoga or this or that or this, so that my nishtha should not become second. By this, I'll make advance. This nishtha should not overlap somewhere else. My nishtha is that my lotus feet of Krishna is my only means of advancement. His lotus feet, his holy name, his mercy will protect me. This sentiment is so nice, actually. It's so beautiful. It is so intimate. It is so intimate. This sentiment is the root of bhakti. That my Krishna, my Shri Radha Gopika, Srila Prabhupada will protect me. He will deliver me. My spiritual master will help me deliver. What is the problem with my anarthas? My spiritual master is so powerful. He will deliver me. This nishtha must be there. What is there? He is so great. This nishtha, this pride, this abhimanam is the root of devotional service. So, Devahuti had this nishtha. She simply thought about Karma only. She did not think, where will I catch an airplane? DL 134. How will I go? I'll go by walking. Thought of Karma only. Karma only will take me. She went to Karma. So, nishtha also we must have. So, I know I spoke many things over my adhikar. Some things maybe I'm not this thing, but whatever, came to my little intelligence, I spoke. If I spoke anything over my adhikar, if I spoke anything mistake, please forgive me. Hare Krishna, please add your comments or suggestions or correction.
Question. Ask. I'm trying to understand. First of all, Prabhu, thank you so much for this so inspiring and thought-provoking class. A lot of things are super inspiring.
Thank you. I meant for myself.
I'm trying to understand this too. Kardama Muni, in the beginning itself, he says that, I'll give you your devotional service. At a point, it says that I'll give you all the mercy I've received, so I will give you also. So now I'm trying to understand. This is also the aerial mansion is temporary arrangement. After that, again, they're going to come back to hermitage. So this is only because she asked for a suitable place, so to have children. I'm trying to connect this under this Bhogeshwarya Prasakanandya Purpasitasam Vasaya Tiga Buddhi Samadhavnavadiyate. So these two, Bhoga and Aishwarya, they are not going to help. So eventually, the pure devotional service is the only goal and only thing we need to get it. Maybe, sorry, it's all because my corrupted mind over this question is I'm trying to understand it. Why such a huge opulence? And again, coming back to simple living.
So, thank you, Prabhuji, for the question. The way I understand and speak, you're more advanced, you're more senior, you are asking me to basically educate me or maybe speak something on this matter for my own clarification. You are more regular attender of Bhagavatam classes than I am. Definitely you will be informed than I am. Maybe I speak something. So, the way I understand it is Devabhuti is having a material desire. Okay? Devabhuti is having a material desire to bear his children in a certain place. And the verse is Bhogeshwarya Prasaktanam, one who is attached to it all in all. Devabhuti's nishtha is not, I want this enjoyment. Her nishtha is service of Kardama Muni. That is her nishtha. Now, auxiliary to that, she has some desires. And because these desires are being satisfied in a righteous way, this is dharma. Artha is there, kama is there, this is artha, all the prosperity is there. That is artha. Then there is kama. But because it is happening under the umbrella of why even Varnashrama, Bhagavad Dharma, because she's actually under the guidance of Kardama Muni. Kardama Muni will again bring her back where she has to be and leave her at the shelter of Kapila Devi. Because she is in the right association. Bhagavatam is very practical. It will not say something impractical, simply for the sake of getting a story that everyone is born renounced. It's not like that. Everyone has many pulls and pushes. It is very natural. It's very natural. So Devabhuti, because her nishtha is correct. Her nishtha is correct. She goes to the ultimate platform of getting association of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kapila Dev himself. So the thing is, what is my driving point? What is my nishtha? What is my primary point? Do I come back to it again and again? Am I being guided? Because a person who has material desires must be guided. Only one person is unguided. He is a person who has no material desires. Sannyasi. He doesn't need any guidance. He is the guider. He is guiding everyone else. Everyone else is being guided. Everyone is being protected. Right? So similarly, Devabhuti is being protected by Kardama Muni. Because of her protection, the bad effects of it are being nullified. And she goes to the ultimate shelter. That is the way I understand it. No, I do not know. Maybe there are Shyam Kishore Prabhu or
I have a question. Yes. Thank you for bringing this very detailed etiquette in Vedic time. It was so respect, like you told the sannyasi, to talk to sannyasi. We should talk to sannyasi rather than Maharajas are talking. This is very nice aspect. I heard one thing, and my question is based on that only. I heard that whenever we are talking, we should not take direct name of our wife, but instead we have, in my case, I should Rasaraj's mother, something like that, and that this is so protected, in Varnashram, this etiquette, so detailed and protected. So my question is about Parodharma Bhayava. You talk a lot about that. So Prabhuji, I mean, I'm just trying to connect. Is that inclination is also dharma? Means I want to do particular service because if I do that service perfect, I mean, because that is my nature and we are doing some services. But sometimes what happens? We have to take, we are advised by our seniors to take some such a services which you don't like. It might be austerity. And if you take those, services which you don't like, so that is also more purifying, because whatever I like is my sense gratification, not Krishna like it. So how I can connect this to Parodharma? Is it Parodharma, Prabhuji, to taking such services?
So there are two dharmas, Varnashrama dharma and Bhagavata dharma. So Varnashrama dharma is basically one has a certain set of gunas, and based on that gunas, one will automatically, naturally, intuitively feel like doing a certain karma. This is what Krishna is telling in the Bhagavad Gita. Nigraha kim karishyasi. What will repression accomplish? Nigraha kim karishyasi. If you do nigraham, that I will not be as a Kshatriya. What kim karishyasi? What it will do? Because by your nature, sabhavajena kaunteya. By your sabhavajena, sabhavaja. Ja means jayate. Something is born. Sabhavajena. It is born from your sabhavam. Swa here means Varnashrama dharma. Your gunas. Swabhavajena. From your sabhavajena. Kaunteya, you will naturally feel like doing that activity. Right now, you might appear as if, like sometimes we go through some mindsets where I'm artificially taking up something, but it will not work because again my mind will come back to this thing. I'll try to hold on to that, but again my mind will come back and say, Maggie, do this, because I'm actually situated in that sabhava only. So this is Varnashrama dharma where I'm under a certain guna. So that guna, scientifically, the same Sarkaryavada. Whatever subtle will manifest as grass. So that karma is a manifestation of the guna. So I cannot simply resist that manifestation alone and say I will not manifest. That guna is there, right? It will manifest. This is Varnashrama dharma. Now, if my nishtha changes by the mercy of Shri Guru, where I am uplifted from this guna to a different nishtha. And what is that nishtha? Nishtha at the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. Then what happens? I get Shakti. That happens by the power of Bhagaram. That happens by the power of Sri Nityanandaram. Where I get a different nishtha, then these things, like you were mentioning, any service I can do, that will happen by one's svabhavam, it will happen. By one's svabhavam, it will happen. But it might not be everything, but you must start somewhere. Okay, I must please Balaram, I must please my spiritual master in this way, and I'll try to do this. But the beauty of the senior is in such a way that he doesn't burn out the disciple. So he gives the combination of, he makes that transition very smooth. He did not say he got initiated, no. Not like that. He makes the transition very smooth in such a way that a person can actually eventually accept any dharma for the sake of satisfying my dear Krishna. Whatever I want to do for my Krishna, I will do. So this Bhagavata dharma nishtha might take time, but might not take time. But the person on authority must make sure that that person is happy. That is that Prabhupada writes in one of the letters to all the temple presidents, GBCs, this thing, right? We want to awaken the voluntary spirit of that person. Spirit is voluntary. No one is forcing someone. Everyone is giving voluntarily. So I must make sure that the svabhavam, that this service spirit is not killed by that demand. But from my own sake, I must think how I can make that shift from this thing. But even if so, in many places this can be reconciled actually. So it is a false dichotomy whether do I do Varnashrama dharma or Bhagavad dharma. It is a dichotomy that is not necessary in many cases. Actually, there are many services that are required that is based on my own sabhava, that is required for Krishna. That is required. Only in very emergency cases, in apad dharma, that you have to conflate a woman has to do the rule of a man or man has to do the rule of a woman. or a Brahmana has to do the role of a sannyasi, sannyasi has to do the role of a Shudra. This is all required in the sense of Abhadharma. It might be required in the current scenario. But as far as possible, if that doesn't happen, it makes things a little more easier. Then you're asking someone to say, you're basically, your whole society is based on someone surrendering to Krishna. Then it creates a very stressful society because the surrender is voluntary and you're basically forcing that surrender. And then what happens? That person is disappointed with that surrender because you're forcing it. But rather, if I actually have a society where it is based on every person's svabhava, then demanding that person surrenders and overcome their svabhava by surrendering to the Guru, then it is more natural. Get what I'm saying? So that's what I feel. I don't know if I can answer it.
So is this what you said sometime in specific circumstances, taking role of other and do? Is this the same Daivi Varnashrama what we call?
So Daivi Varnashrama Dharma is basically the real Varnashrama system, which Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur stressed because the other became Asuri. Where did the Asuratvam come from? The Asuratvam came from the distraction from serving Sri Krishna. Because the Varnashrama Dharma that is practiced in India became distracted to something else other than serving Krishna. And simply putting down someone else, Shudra Jati, you go there, or you are go there. It was meant to assert one's own greatness. Ishvaro aham bhogi siddhu aham balavan sukhi, I am so great. Because it came to assert that mentality, that Asuratvam came from there. So Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, this is not the real Vashrama where there is Asuratvam. Actually, it must be Daivi Sampat Varnashrama system. What is a Daivi Sampat? The Daivi Sampat is to place Krishna in the center. To uplift someone, where there is trust in someone, where there is love between people, where there is cooperation, where is a sense of let us all grow together. This is the Daivi Varnashrama system, where I am not against you, you are not against me, where I am not thinking I am important, you are important. No. Let us all go together to Krishna. Let us all go back to God in this very lifetime with our own svabhava. This mentality is Daivi Sampat. We all can succeed together. This is Daivi Sampat. Asuri Sampat, you have to fail only. I am only a Brahmana. I only succeed. You be born, defeated. Next Dharma, you be born in Brahmana, the Yoni, and then you come, then you can be a defeat. This is Asuri Sampat. This is Asuri Sampat. So Daivi Varnashrama Dharma is Varnashrama. This is the Varnashrama Dharma that is there in Bhagavatam. That is the Varnashrama Dharma that Mahaprabhu also is trying to follow. I mean, for the sake of external symbols. Mahaprabhu is telling, hey, thank you so much, my dear disciple. I did not touch that female. Mahaprabhu is saying that, right? He's thanking. Why? He wants to protect sannyasa dharma for the sake of external formalities. But that is not a stress. But still he wants to protect it for the sake of maintaining order in the society, for reducing chaos. Krishna himself says in the 3rd chapter, if I do not do this, there will be chaos. Right? Like that. I hope that's clear.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I'm trying to understand this. See, I grew up in a place where this was quite prominent, where we thought Varnashrama Dharma is very regressive, very oppressive. And especially people like the ARS or Marxist people, it's very difficult to make them understand Varnashrama Dharma is scientific. So could you give me something that, that very short you can make them understand? This is scientific, this is not repressive.
I mean, to a Marxist or someone like actually His Holiness Bhakti Vikasa Swami Maharaj went to Karunanidhi to speak with Karunanidhi. I don't know if you watched that video. So Karunanidhi, if someone who does not know, he is kind of the personification of politician from South India. He's a personification of what is the Marxist Periyar ideology, which is basically everything that is Sanatana Dharma is regressive, it is useless, they have dragged on people. So what I learned from Maharaj in that conversation was, he did not talk about anything Varnashrama Dharma. Actually, he took a portion from ISKCON Salem. He was a Dalit by birth. Right? He said, see, he's a Dalit by birth, but he's serving Radha and Krishna in the temple. Right? He's serving Dalit, he's a Dalit. But he's serving Radha and Krishna in the temple. He gives classes. You see? So whatever your complaint against Sanatana Dharma is not actually this thing, because we are promoting everyone. That's what Prabhupada did. Papi tapi yate zilo hari name uddharilo. Har sati jagai. So we are elevating everyone who's qualified, right? Who's qualified, not like Gandhiji, like, Harijan, then not simply by rubber stamping, but by practice, by samskara bhavit, right? By right samskara. So in my opinion, I feel to talk to them about Varnashana Dharma is meant to actually do more bad than good, So first of all, make them understand this is inclusive. And this is, everyone can come, anyone can come. This is true. And then once they can actually, because discrimination, the modern society is tired of any sort of division, because any person, all the systems that were there, it could be black and white, it could be, American history, or it could be Indian history. Wherever there was any order, wherever there was any partition of society, there was absolute or a lot of exploitation. So